that Peter and I have just been talking about?
Well, I'm not prominent enough, perhaps, to be approached by politicians at this stage. It does look like they know they don't have a lot of scientific options or even engineering options on the table. What's really needed is a complete rethinking of the water infrastructure in California, but perhaps more fundamentally, and this is what's very hard for politicians to do, a rethinking of water rights, for example. There are very perverse incentives in California of how farmers use water, because it comes back to the days that, the early days of the settlement of the West, and how the water rights were enacted to essentially promote the growing population and encourage people to come and flock here in great numbers. Now that we have the opposite problem, which is that now there's a population problem, there's too many people trying to, making increasing demands on scarcer and scarcer resources. I think it's time to change those rights now. It's time to change that thinking. It's time to think about what is the best allocation of water for the state, and that is, in my opinion, a political problem, not a scientific one. It's a debate that Californians are going to have amongst themselves, whether the agricultural use of the water as it is practiced right now, using billions of gallons of water for alfalfa that we send to China, or for growing very water-intensive crops like red meat, or agricultural products, I should say, not crops. Is that the best use of our water, or should we shift those activities to other states that have more water, and should we focus on, making chips in Silicon Valley? Obviously, farmers in Silicon Valley are going to have a very different opinion about that, but that's a political debate to be had, and it's something that Jerry Brown and the California legislature should not shy away, and they should certainly not hope that one El Nino is going to solve the problem for them.
Professor, thank you. Anything else from you, Peter?
No, it is indeed fascinating, and I asked that last question because I hear it a lot. People say, oh, well, rain is coming, and the complacency already, you can feel it seeping in, that they are told at one point by politicians that they have to do X, Y, and Z, but people kind of shrug their shoulders and say, oh, let's just turn a blind eye to that. It is going to be okay. So it is going to be fascinating, Rod, to see how this pans out over the next few months, and what people's attitude will be at this time next year.
Professor Juliana Milge from the Earth Sciences Department at the University of Southern California. Thank you very much for being our guest. And we'll be back with Peter in a very few minutes' time, just after 2:30.
On digital, online, smartphone and tablet, this is